Am I the a-hole for not helping my brother and my ex with the kid they had together and telling my parents to step up if help is deserved? I, 25 male, was dating Jade, 24 female, for 4 years. We broke up several months ago when I found out she'd been sleeping with my brother Tommy, 24 male, for months or maybe even years. Heck, maybe they were secretly cheating since the start. I don't even know anymore. Jade and I lived together, and I thought we were expecting a baby together. Then I walked in on them. I didn't catch them in the middle of it or even in bed, but it looked intimate and way too comfortable. They told me I was imagining things, and I said I didn't believe them. Tommy said he'd never do me like that we're brothers and we're there for each other. BS like that. I broke up with Jade. She and Tommy still said I was crazy and that nothing was going on. But once Jade realized I was serious and I wasn't supporting her through the pregnancy any further and wanted a DNA test, Tommy came crawling to me, begging me not to put Jade or his kid at risk. He told me I could be the dad and raise the baby and he'd never be with Jade again. But she wanted what I could offer her and the baby, and he wanted the best for his kid. Our parents were shocked by what had happened, but also frustrated because Tommy was bouncing from job to job after college. He had no stability or stable income, and Jade wasn't in a much better position. Meanwhile, I had gone to trade school, was earning good money, and had stable employment. They berated Tommy and Jade like crazy, and I stepped away from the two of them. I said I would only step back in and communicate with Jade if the baby was mine, and I said I'd pay for a DNA test. Even without knowing, they tried to list me as the father on the birth certificate. But luckily, I needed to be there, so that failed. My parents paid for Tommy to take a DNA test at the same time I did, and the DNA proved he was the father, not me. Jade begged me to take her back and said the baby was really ours no matter what DNA said. I blocked her everywhere after that and did the same with Tommy. They still tracked me down in public, but I ignored them. I told Tommy we weren't family anymore and to remember that he was the one who broke our relationship, not me. The baby is about 4 months old now, and my parents are taking issue with the fact that I ignore that the baby exists, just like I now ignore that Tommy and Jade exist. They told me I could have sent the baby a gift or something, that I'm still the uncle, even if I'm not the father. I told them I wanted nothing to do with the mess, and it's up to Tommy and Jade to figure this stuff out. My parents argued that a good uncle is still important and that the baby hasn't done anything to deserve being rejected. I said the baby is innocent, but it's attached to parents who are both pieces of trash who deserve nothing from me. I reminded my parents that we're talking about the same people who expected me to believe I'd raised the kid as my own, that they'd stopped cheating, and who even tried to force my name onto the birth certificate. Those people. I said the baby might be doomed, but I don't feel responsible for saving it from that life. My parents said Tommy and Jade need help for the sake of the baby, and that the baby's well-being should be all anyone cares about. I rolled my eyes, and my parents told me to take this seriously. They said there had been a 50% chance the baby was mine, so how could all those feelings just vanish like that? They argued that the baby, and even Tommy to a point, still deserve support, because no matter what, he's still my brother. I suggested that if they feel help is so deserved, they should step up, because I'm not going to. They said I was breaking their hearts and Tommy's heart, and one day I'd break the baby's heart too, and that I should think about the bigger picture. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Protect your peace. You were betrayed by two people who were closest to you. You owe them nothing. Reinforce this to yourself. They did not make a mistake. They made conscious decisions over and over again, and were even going to pass off your brother's child as your own. Ignore the dog whistles and focus on yourself, as they sure as heck did. Get therapy, and surround yourself with people who support you and your choices. Sometimes, it's not enough to cut out just those two toxic, evil people, but also their enablers. I wish you all the best, and hope you have a life full of happiness. It was a lot of conscious decisions too. From the cheating, to the lying when I found out, to trying to manipulate me into taking responsibility for their choices. And then even attempting to put me on the birth certificate. So much screwing around on me and my parents suggesting I shouldn't hate Tommy is crazy to me. He's their son and the baby's their grandkid, so I get that they won't cut him off. But to expect me to finance his decisions and be there for him like before, it's wild. I'm lucky I have other better people in my life. Not the a-hole. Your parents need to knock this nonsense off. Like yesterday. If they are so concerned about the baby and Tommy and Jade, then they can help out. But this is not your problem. You don't owe any of them, including their baby, anything. Oh, my favorite part was Tommy saying he would never be with Jade again, and that she wanted what you could offer her and the baby. What a pig. I guarantee you, once you took her back and played Dada to her kid, she would go right back to hoeing around, be it with Tommy or some other doofus. Tell your parents if they keep up with the emotional terrorism, they will end up on the no-contact list too. Hopefully that jolts them back to reality. Tommy and Jade can eat a bowl of nicks. I know that too. They probably would have had me raising all of their babies, and then once it was over, they'd run off together. Or at least he'd swoop in and play dad when the hard work was done. And what about your heart? You're being cast as the villain when you've done nothing wrong. They've made their bed. Mine is supposed to be so full of love for him and the baby at least, that I don't hurt and can be the bigger person, or whatever way they'll try to sell it. Bigger person my foot. Those are just sorry words to manipulate people and guilt people into doing what they want. Grandparents are just scared they are going to get stuck raising the kids because both parents are losers. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go and standing my ground after my ex-friend and my ex-girlfriend invited me to their wedding? Believe me, I'm still confused, and I don't get why I'm so important in this story. I mean, it's an old story that I thought was past and buried, but apparently not. So when my daughter Sophie was 3, she isn't mine biologically because she is the daughter of my best friend who died of cancer and her mother disappeared out of nowhere and never showed up. I was with an old ex of mine, Clara. After only 1 month of our relationship, I caught Clara cheating on me with a friend of mine. I broke up with her immediately and ended my friendship with him. I blocked their numbers and all contact on social media. But to me, that was it. I thought it was the end. But it wasn't. For years they tried to make peace, but I always refused rudely and aggressively because the pain and anger were always there. But now, this situation has made me wonder what kind of weirdo I was with for a month. At that time, she was one of those people who believed in karma, luck, and all this mystic stuff. But I never realized how deep it went. Well, a few hours ago, I received a text from Clara inviting me to their wedding, which would be in 2 weeks. According to her, it was a way to throw away the past and be a better person. But I just refused, saying, absolutely freaking not and go to hell. I genuinely thought my reply was clear and loud enough, but apparently it wasn't. And now a whole circus of drama and ridiculousness has started, which makes no sense to me. Apparently, in the last few months, they were always fighting, so they sought help from one of those fortune tellers. And according to them, all their problems were because of the bad karma I sent them for their betrayal. So if I don't forgive them and come to their wedding, it will be a disaster. In the past 2 hours, my phone has been blowing up with texts and calls from Clara, my ex-friend, and even their parents. They are all trying to convince me to forgive them and attend their wedding. I'm currently replying to all their texts with just, go F yourself and go to hell. Of course, I have never forgiven them and never will, so they can insist all they want, but I will never do it. They even tried the pathetic move of making me feel guilty by saying that if I don't do what they want, the disaster at their wedding and in their marriage will be entirely my fault because of my bad karma and malicious influences. I might sound cruel, but I'm actually enjoying this whole circus. Because their excuses are so nonsensical that it's hilarious. They haven't tried reaching out to my parents or our friends because they know what happened and that they would never help them. As always, I had a talk with my grandma. She is my official psychologist and advisor, but she said that since it's important to them, I should just accept and go. So this whole thing can end here. According to her, I should fake forgiveness but go to the wedding anyway, so this pathetic story can end. But I don't know. So here I am asking for your opinion. Am I the a-hole for refusing to be part of this nonsense? Or should I just accept it so it will end once and for all, even though I would never truly forgive them? It would be ludicrous to attend this wedding, not the a-hole. I would, and an I slept with the bride t-shirt. Or the bride and groom cheated on me and all I got was this lousy wedding invite t-shirt. Not the a-hole. I think this is hilarious that they are blaming bad karma for their personal issues. And at this point, instead of being mad, this is so ludicrous you could just laugh this off and continue carrying on with your life. And do a whole lot better job of blocking everybody. Pretty sure any bad karma they gave themselves with their lying and cheating. It wasn't OP who gave it to them. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to move my wedding date because my sister decided to file for divorce the same weekend? So, I, 28 female, am getting married in 6 months. We booked the venue over a year ago, sent out save the dates, and everything is locked in. My sister, 32 female on the other hand, just announced she's officially filing for divorce. And apparently, she's decided to do it the same weekend as my wedding, for symbolic reasons. She says she wants a fresh start and doesn't want to drag things out any longer. Which, okay, I get it. Divorce sucks. But now my mom is acting like her divorce is the bigger event that weekend. She literally told me I should consider rescheduling so the family can be there for both of us. I was like, are you serious? My wedding has been planned forever. This is not some casual dinner reservation I can just move around. My sister could file her divorce papers anytime, but chose this weekend because it felt right for her. I told her she was being selfish and making my wedding about her, and now she's crying to my mom about how I don't support her. My fiancé and dad are on my side, but my mom and some relatives think I'm being heartless for not making space for her pain. I'm sorry, but who plans their divorce around someone else's wedding? Am I the a-hole for refusing to reschedule? Because I feel like this is insane. Now for the top comments. She has no money on the line, therefore she can kindly buzz off. She says she wants a fresh start and doesn't want to drag things out any longer. What's the reason to do it in 6 months? The real reason. Because waiting 6 months contradicts her above statement. Right? If she didn't want to drag it out, she would be filing this weekend, not waiting 6 months until OP's wedding day. Where in the world are courthouses even open on weekends? Also, most likely she isn't going to be filing anything. She's going to go to her lawyer, sign some stuff, and her lawyer's legal assistant will file the paperwork. Does she think she's going to dress up, go to the courthouse, and declare her divorce like Michael Scott's bankruptcy? Not the a-hole. Sis did this on purpose. I'd tell her I have no intentions of rescheduling my wedding, and once you've decided you're getting a divorce, who waits 6 months? This is all deliberate. I'd be uninviting the heck out of sister. She's going to go around the entire wedding looking for sympathy and babbling on about her divorce. What a bee, going to assume her soon-to-be ex is sick of her crap too. Honestly, since she's pulling this stupid waiting game to have her divorce on literally the same weekend as OP's wedding for symbolic reasons, I would uninvite her too. What's the symbolism here? That OP can't be happy and get married because her sister's marriage failed? What a self-absorbed twit of his sister, and the mom is a horrid enabler. OP, please don't change your wedding date. I'm sorry your sister is getting divorced, but you don't need to put your life on hold for her. She can do it literally any other weekend. She just wants to steal attention and wallow in self-pity, as well as use ruining your day to make herself feel better. She and your mother should be ashamed of themselves, especially for acting like rescheduling a wedding is so easy, or somehow cheap or free in this economy. They both need to grow up, not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for ditching my girlfriend at a restaurant, which contributed to her failing her probationary period at work? I, 27 male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, Cindy, 26 female, since university. Last September, Cindy's company went under. She took this hard because she loved her workplace, loved her colleagues, and loved her boss. Unfortunately, they just weren't making much money, so the plug was pulled. When Cindy came home and delivered the news to me, I asked if she wanted me to introduce her to my boss. Having the same major, we work in the same field, and my company is almost always hiring. Cindy said yes, and I texted my boss on the spot. After delivering her CV to him and a short interview process, she was hired in a 3-month probationary position. I was really excited to be working with Cindy. We could save money on gas by carpooling, spend more time together, and have lunch together too. Unfortunately, things did not pan out. To be frank, Cindy was a horrible employee. She showed up to the office 15 to 20 minutes late virtually every day. I had to give up on carpooling with her because I have a morning meeting, and I need to get to work 15 minutes early every day. Cindy's favorite activity at work was opening up a blank Google Doc and looking at her phone under her desk. The hour we get for lunch was often an hour and a half for Cindy, and she really accomplished nothing in her time there. This continued for 3 months. Last Monday was a rare occasion when Cindy was actually ready on time to go to work together. Perhaps this was because of my gentle urging for her to get her act together, or perhaps it was because her probationary period was ending soon, but we were able to carpool. We went out to lunch together, and Cindy ate way too slowly. I was looking at the clock and encouraging her to get a move on, but at the end of the meal, right when we had to leave to make it back on time, Cindy decided she wanted another refill of her soda. I told her time was up, but she was adamant that she absolutely needed another refill. To make matters worse, the restaurant was crowded and we couldn't flag down a server. I put the cash for the meal and a tip on a table and told Cindy that I was leaving, with or without her. Cindy played chicken with me, thinking that if she refused to move, I'd have no choice but to wait. But I walked to my car and drove back. Cindy showed up 20 minutes later, visibly flustered. The restaurant was a 10-minute walk away, so I'm pretty sure she did end up getting her refill. She has been furious with me since. Last Friday, Cindy received her final judgment for her probationary period. Due to poor punctuality and a general lack of direction, my company decided not to hire her for a full-time position. Cindy blames me. She says I made her late and that I ruined everything. Last night, she asked how she was supposed to pay her part of the rent without a job, and I responded, "Yes, that's a good question. How will you be paying?" This threw oil on the proverbial fire, and now she doesn't even want to fight about it anymore. Was I an a-hole for what I did here? If she seriously believes she wasn't hired because of that particular day and not all the other ones, she's delusional AF. You even tried helping her be punctual, but she didn't care. Not the a-hole, not your responsibility at all. This is going to sound crazy, but that may have been the point. She may have been intentionally dense about getting back from lunch on time, knowing that OP would leave without her. He's already set the precedent that he won't be late to work for her with the morning carpools, and then used that to blame him for failing instead of herself. With how she acted at work, she might still actually be self-aware enough to realize she wasn't going to be kept on. So this could have been a plan to guilt OP into not pushing her too hard about the rent. It sounds like they live together. I know that seems a bit nuts. I've just known some really manipulative people that I could see doing exactly that scenario. I didn't even recognize this as a possibility at the time, but it actually sounds likely now that you say it. I honestly don't understand how any reasonable person would expect to pass the probationary period at a job after being chronically late and screwing around on Instagram all day at work. Guess you found out why that company went under. Not the a-hole. Honestly, yeah. I kind of understand now why she loved her old company so much. I probably should have seen the signs earlier too. Despite both of us starting work at 9 o'clock and her old company being farther away than mine, I cannot recall a single day that she left after me. Even one time when I was running very late due to stomach issues, I distinctly recall leaving at 9:05 with Cindy still doing her makeup.